Hello Oboists, I'm Victoria Racz, and this is part 3 of my teaching demo videos for the high school all Northwest, all state oboe and English horn excerpts. If you haven't seen those other videos yet, it might be good to start with those, and I've included links in the description section of this video as well as links to the sites for sheet music printouts in each video. The first page of Set C is in one of those previous videos, but even if you are doing different excerpts for your area, each short video packs in helpful music prep and performance tips, so check those out. Let's dive into the second part of Set C, beginning with the Strauss Serenade for Winds. This is a glorious one-movement work that Strauss composed when he was 17. It is an absolute thrill to rehearse and perform this and to be surrounded by that dark, decadent soundscape that Strauss creates. After you've worked on it a bit to decide how you want to sound, listen to the entire piece. There are several good performances on YouTube, and it's only about 10 minutes long. It's absolutely crucial to understand how your part fits into everything else to be able to play it well. This short excerpt absolutely soars with romantic era intensity, even though Strauss is a 20th century composer, and it should be played with the biggest dynamic range you can possibly obtain, as well as a full, lush vibrato if you are utilizing that skill. Have you ever had an extremely emotional conversation with someone and it's so difficult to get the words out? You keep stopping, starting over, and you keep struggling to find the right words? That's an interpretation I have for this piece. All those 16th note rests and silence is powerful. I also appreciate all the anticipatory spaces and lifts after all the 8th notes throughout this section, especially in the syncopated patterns. I've written in some counting and other markings that should assist, and be sure to hear your counting voice in your head as you play. Those silences and lifts shouldn't be abrupt or choppy, by the way. When you come up to the high E flat, a reminder that this is how you finger that. Half hole, 2, 3, and then 2, 3, and your pinky, your left pinky, should be on your B key only. Do some octaves to check intonation with your tuner. D's for measure 48. B flats for measure 49. And E flats for measure 50. After you have counted and clapped it through several times, in 4, with the 8th note getting the beat as marked, you should be ready to record your take. First, it's my turn, and I will alter something in the last measure so that no one is tempted to try to pass this off as their own recording. Let's check the metronome marking. I have mine set to 76. Now for a complete shift of sound and style. Mozart! Where the Strauss is all gooey, delicious dark chocolate, Mozart is a light lemon sorbet. Words and adjectives I think of when I generally play music from this era include sparkle, shine, dance-like, buoyant. The Strauss is emotion, but this excerpt is about gleeful precision, and Mozart is an exacting taskmaster. First, take a look at measure 9. It is common knowledge that the 16th notes at the beginning of that measure are misprints and should actually be 8th notes, and I have marked it accordingly. At the end of measure 6, this addition ties the G over to measure 7. I really prefer to tongue all 3 Gs, as that helps to show the musical motion through each repeated notes. And actually, I'm going to play it that way, as that will identify it as my recording. This addition also omits the low C that I like so much. I think it's a wonderful stabilizer, yet I guess I could also appreciate entering on the upbeat, as it is kind of sassy that way. Here's the addition that I'm used to, just for reference. The best way to approach this dramatic opening statement is to isolate and drill little sections. So let's begin with that trill. A common way to trill C to D is with the second finger of the right hand on the trill key. Practice it with the finger straight and also curved, so that you have options depending upon which note might be before and or after it in other pieces. The second way to trill, if your oboe has the key, is by using the second finger of the left hand on this little doohickey key, technical term. I used to play this piece utilizing my right key only from back when I was in high school, and just recently I've decided that I prefer it this way. One of the beautiful things about music is that we can keep growing and evolving if we're flexible and open-minded enough to change. But I digress. Let's drill that opening. Isolate a small group of notes and only add another portion when you have confidence that you have mastered each section. This technique is something one should use over a period of time to make the opening statement of this concerto sound carefree and breezy. Here is my demo of that procedure, but remember that it's greatly accelerated, and I would take much more time with this whole procedure if I was just learning a piece. So, a few other things to comment on about this excerpt. The best way to successfully perform a piece like this is to really work on your fundamentals so that whatever you play sounds effortless and glitch-free. That means consistently practicing extended scales, arpeggios, and long tones with dynamics so that you have control over your instrument. All of these skills must be automatic in these 16 measures that were just played, so you need to giggle your way all through this piece to convey a joyful spirit to your audience. Never play this too quickly, as it needs to dance, not sprint. Also, keep in mind that this is a piece that will be part of your repertoire forever, so be sure to learn it correctly from the very beginning so that you don't learn bad habits from trying to take it too quickly. Now we come to the final track for those that also play English horn. Beethoven composed 2 amazing works for oboe trio, meaning 2 oboes and English horn, and you should definitely listen to both and work on all the parts. Beethoven based this on the duo La ci darem la mano from Mozart's opera Don Giovanni. In this scene, Don Giovanni has just met Zerlina and her fiancé, and Don Giovanni is attempting to seduce her. In the actual trio arrangement by Beethoven, just an FYI that this is not the English horn part. This excerpt is actually from the first oboe part. Count this in 4 so that the 8th notes get the beat. I've written in some helpful markings as well as counting to assist you in hearing your own inner counting voice. The mood of this theme is jaunty enticement, so play smoothly and flirtatiously throughout, and be mindful to not accent the trills in the last line. about the trills, I start from the upper note on both, as they are being approached from the same note. Just do a few graceful wiggles. Good thing we worked out our C to D trill in the earlier Mozart selection. Bring out those dynamic changes, especially in the third line. I like to have a little space between the dotted figures in measure 18 to give those figures some coquettishness, and I also like to make it clear that those 16th notes are pickups to the dotted eighths, especially as I think it gives dynamic momentum to the forte in measure 19. Those breath marks marked in the second line are there more for the musical phrases, so be sure to lift on them even if you don't need a breath, and change the dynamic to help mark those phrases. As with the others, I will change the final measure just a bit. Thank you for watching this video, and please give a thumbs up and leave a comment if you found it beneficial. I'd love to hear from you, so you can find me online through my Northwest Oboe Seminar site or through my Oregon Chamber Player sites. Happy playing!